Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you along. And for those of you that are watching right now, I'm going to do my little sanitizer spray. Of course, practicing all sorts of social distancing, making sure all COVID protocols are in place. In studio with me, Jerome Paarwater, Currie Cup coach, and Danny Jones, of course, Western Province Rugby general manager for amateur rugby. Danny, let's go back to you. You know, we often speak about Jerome, about him engaging with the club structures. He's managed to bring a lot of the club players to the high performance center over the years that have got involved there. Of course, we've also seen club coaches getting additional education at a club level with regards to coaching. But your pathways, as you were mentioning earlier on, your pathways from school to club, or club to, I think it was before, you called it club to Vodacom. There are so many more opportunities now.
No, definitely, JP. As you know, the club to Vodacom was an opportunity for club players, but then the Currie Cup and Super Rugby was kind of a bridge too far. With this new mechanism that we brought in place, at least the Currie Cup is now achievable and attainable for club players. And the fact that we have Jerome there, who has always had an eye on club players and has a good relationship with clubs and the varsities, it gives the club player a bigger opportunity to have access to the Currie Cup team.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, we're very chuffed that Jerome has been appointed as the Currie Cup coach, because besides his ability as a top coach, it's the access that I like the most, because it gives that access into our club rugby systems. So that if it is about a player sitting at the Bulls that's a professional on a big contract that we want to sign, we can always say, hold it, before we go to that expense, let's look at we know there's a PJ van der Merwe and Johan Botman and Virgil Conradi running out there. Let's look at them first, and let's have the conviction to bring them into the system and see them, and not just let's look at the next professional player.
Talking about this, we've also got the under-20s that is an additional opportunity, and the Varsity Cup, that's an additional opportunity, Varsity Shield, that's an opportunity to come from the junior ranks and play. So the platforms, the opportunities that you're talking about is much more than it was before. But if we just go back and look at the last 2 years, we also know that school rugby took a bit of an impact because of the lack of games at school level. But it looks like you've adjusted now. You've managed to keep your players somehow linked or connected to come into the under-20 structure.
No, that's true. Look, it's always a privilege to be in Western Province. I mean, the professional players sitting all over the world coming from South Africa will tell you that the Western Province brand is a big brand, and it's good to be to be associated with that brand. So that already is an attraction point, you know, for any player. But you're right, we do have good systems from Wilfred's component up through Nazim, now Labib, into Jerome. And all those people are in the community, from the community. They know they know their rugby and they know their players. So that does help. It does help that, and also we have the Jerome has direct access to Dobson, and you can say to Dobson, before we go outside, let's look inside. And there is that kind of good rapport between John and Jerome. And that does help the Western Province club-based player or Western Province school-based player to actually have a bigger gateway or pathway into the professional component.
So Jerome, you've brought a lot of players through the ranks. I mean, one of the favorite names that we talk about is, of course, Herschel Giantjes playing at the Springbok level. Some of the players that you've got in your system now, they're coming through the club structure. I've got to ask the question, do the guys, I know we've spoken about this before, and we over the last 3 years, I think we've filmed almost every single one of your practice sessions and got the guys on screen. Now they're all famous Currie Cup players. If we think about where we were last year or the year before, coming through the ranks, is there that spirit, that gees of you know, where they were a few years ago, that they were still juniors, they were getting to know Western Province, they were still coming from clubs and pointing fingers at each other? Do we still have that gees?
We still have that, JP, and it's now that you mentioned that, if you look at the amount of under 20 guys that play for me now in the Currie Cup, and when Renzel came out to film these guys there at Villages or at Belleville, there was this big excitement to talk to Renzel and watching Cape Rugby TV, and now all of a sudden they're on the big stage talking to journalists, and that really helped them, JP. So they're not afraid of the camera and stuff. So what you guys were doing is almost like getting them ready for the big stage. So we're privileged to have that. So I think we'll see after this Currie Cup competition, we'll see a lot of these guys, and you can go back to last year and track these guys and say, yes, look at this guy now.
Look at the difference.
You'll see how they grow. The same like you said with Herschel Gianties. And that is what we do here at Western Province, JP. And as Mr. Jones was saying, we first look to see what we have inside. Look, on the odd occasion, we will go out and see if we don't have somebody in that position, go out. But most of the time, we will work with the youngsters that we have here. If you look at where in the past would guys of CPUT train at Currie Cup level, if you look at Sia, Amir, who played lock for CPUT, they with us now. I mean, they varsity sealed players. But they're good enough and they're there. Like yesterday, Sia scrummed against almost the whole day. He scrummed against Skara, and he's talking. And also last night when I went back to, because I also helped CPUT still a bit, so I went back and I did a few scrums and stuff. And in the past, Sia wouldn't have talked so much to the guys and give his input. So that's always good for us, and the clubs must always know that the guys come to us, we expect the guys, and we tell them, you go back to your club, set the example, and that's what we want, and that's just going to make our club rugby stronger, and the guys know there's an opportunity for them to play in whichever, whether it's under 20 or Currie Cup or URC, there's an opportunity.
Even during the initial stages of club to Vodacom, the idea was precious always to get players into that Vodacom team and there. But as Jerome said, is to when they leave us, send them back as better players, send them back as part of the leadership, send them back as to bring more of the other players onto their level. So that for us was the hidden agenda, so that we grow the quality of club rugby. You know, it wasn't everybody saw it as a gap to go play Vodacom Cup. No, we saw it as a gap to improve club rugby by inviting those players, bringing them part of the system. But when they go back to their clubs, they become the example of what it should be to be a player playing at a higher level.
Right, folks. Well, of course, as you know, every week we go down to MChem Pharmacy and MChem 24-hour Pharmacy and take a look at what it is that MChem 24-hour Pharmacy is up to. Of course, as you know, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy continue with their pledge to be there for you, to always be there for you, to be looking after you. Of course, the staff at MChem over the festive season made their social media videos in their various departments where they made the pledge for you that they would always be open and always be there for you. Now, this has been a fantastic campaign from MChem 24-hour Pharmacy during the festive season, during these times of uncertainty. And of course, we know these times of uncertainty are still on us. And yes, we are heading into schools opening and universities opening and people slowly finding their feet again in the new year. But it has been a blessing to know that MChem has been open 24 hours, 7 days a week, always there for you. Thaway Badina is a pharmacist at MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and she made this video for you.
Hi, my name is Thaway Badini and I am the pharmacist here at MChem 24-hour Pharmacy. We at MChem understand that although the festive season is a time spent with family and friends, illness or ailments can occur. Our pledge to you is that we will be here for you all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days of the week. Our 24-hour dispensary is always open and we are willing to help you with all your pharmaceutical needs.
Thaway Bedina, of course, pharmacist at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. And, well, folks, as you know, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, open 24/7, always there for you.